Hi, I'm Tim, and this is The Smaller Life. I create videos for people who have done most of the things right in their life. They've made the right decisions, they've raised their family, they've been good people, they followed the rules, they've gone to work every day, but somehow a lot of us, millions and millions of us, are finding ourselves in our retirement years struggling beyond anything that we could have ever imagined, and we're having to make hard decisions between eating, paying our mortgage or our rent, getting the medical care we need. This is crazy, absolutely crazy. So I want to talk to you about why aging in America is a losing game for most of us. And we know we can just focus. The problem is bigger than the three things I'm going to talk to you about: food, housing cost, and medical care. But even looking at those three things in context of the numbers, which I got directly from the US government and the Social Security Administration, so I know that the information that I'll share with you today is accurate, it doesn't make sense. And we can see it ourselves when we go into the grocery store, whether we're paying for our housing or whatever it is. We've seen all these unbelievable increases in cost while our income, whether it be Social Security or a pension or some variation or some version of that, stays the same. And then you got the increased cost of living on top of all that, right? It's absolutely a losing game. And I'll just be frank with you up front. I don't know what the answer is, but we got to figure this out. And we definitely have to talk about it. And hopefully we can, at a minimum, be support for one another. And hopefully we can get some ideas of how to make things at least a little bit better on the basics, right? So when I went to the Social Security Administration and I looked at people's income and retirement, it's starting to make sense because I looked at it in context of what housing cost, what food cost, what medical care cost. It doesn't add up. It does not add up. We're priced out of the game, and we're older, we're vulnerable. We can't work like we used to. So what happens when you can't work anymore and you can't make the extra money? That's where a lot of people are today, and it's just getting tougher and tougher. So according to the Social Security Administration, around one one in three, I think it was like roughly about 35%, are living on less than $1,500 a month. Half are living on a little over half. I think it's about 53% are living on $1,800 a month or less, and 7 out of 10 are living on $2,100 a month or more. So we can see right there, the best of the best is roughly 2,000 or 2,100 a month. You can't live in this country on $2,000 a month. At least you can't do that very well. You've got housing, you've got food, you've got healthcare, you've got medications, you've got all these expenses. No way that adds up, and that's why we're seeing the explosion of these problems. That we're seeing. It's really unbelievable. And I started digging into like this data a little bit on our food cost. In the last 5 years, our food costs have increased 33%. Can't keep up with that. You literally can't keep up with that. The housing is, depending on the source you look at, but it's roughly they'll tell you between 40 and 48%. So the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Can't keep up with that, right? And then when you start looking at health problems that are rising, around 8 million retirees are dealing with Alzheimer's. And, that's just one example, right? And you're talking about that's affecting millions of people, right? Medical debt, I looked at that. Roughly about half of all seniors are dealing with some degree of medical debt. meaning it's so burdensome that they can't even pay it, all the way through they're on some type of payment plans which they can't afford. Uh, we look at what's happening with Medicare. We look at the increasing cost of that. And then, of course, naturally, the government does something very interesting. When you get these little cost of living adjustments, magically, the insurance cost, meaning for Medicare, goes up at the same amount. So there's never any net gain on any of it. They give it and they take it right back. It's an absolute joke. But the joke's on us because we got to figure out how to make this work, right? So when you start looking at the income levels that we're talking about for typical people, retired people, you look at the cost of food, how it's gone up. You look at the cost of housing. Let's talk about that for a minute. So I can only tell you my experience. I thought I was doing everything right. I worked hard. I've always been a person of integrity. I've always paid my bills. I've tried to treat people well. And you get, towards the end of your life and you think, or you've been told, you just got to pay your house off and it'll all work out. That's not true anymore. What nobody knew or what nobody is telling you is the hidden cost, even if you own your house, is pricing the vast majority of us out of the game. The increase in taxes, the increase in repairs, the likelihood of said maintenance and repairs goes up because we've been paying on our home for all our lives, 30 years. We need new 20, 30, $40,000 roofs. We need new $10, $15,000 heating and cooling systems replaced. We need to have the windows or doors replaced because they're leaking water in and it's causing mold. It's just what a lie that was, right? You work your whole life, you pay your house off, and you'll finally be able to rest a little bit and enjoy your life and retirement. That's a joke. In 2026, that's a joke. That's definitely a lie and a very bad joke because all the hidden cost, even if you own your home, no matter how humble or how nice it is or whatever, it's more than we can sustain in our retirement years. So then what? You sell it and you go rent. Have you looked at rent prices? This is why we're seeing this mass influx of seniors living in campers, RVs, tiny houses, cars, homeless people. It's absolutely nuts because people can't keep up with this. And so, the game is, what do I pay this month? Do I eat? Do I pay for my medical care? Oh, I don't go to the doctor because I can't afford to go. Oh, I need to pay my rent or my mortgage so that I'll have some place to sleep tonight. These are really difficult things that are happening to a lot of people in this country. And if you watch any of my other videos, my response to this so far at this point in the game is I sold my house and I took that money and I paid cash for a 7x16 cargo trailer, and it's roughly 112 square feet. And I'm actually in the process right now of building that out. And I've shared some videos. So if you're interested in trying to live small, that's the only thing I can come up with. I just have to minimize and make everything small. And if I can get that cost down, then the other expenses that I can't control, like food and medical expenses and things like that, hopefully somewhere along it's going to work out somehow. And working out somehow, that's not a very good strategy, by the way. But what are we left with, right? So tell me what you're going through. Tell me what your plan is. Tell me how you're responding to these challenges. What's your biggest challenge? Because it's different for all of us. We live in different parts of the country. Different areas have different types of housing and food cost and just all this kind of stuff, and access to medical care. For me, I live out in the country because it's generally just cheaper. People are real nice, and that's and a lot of people I'm seeing even in my area are starting to figure that out a little bit. And so I don't know what that's going to lead to one way or the other, but it's a tough issue. So anyway, share in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you would. That lets me know that you're interested in talking about these types of conversations, and it motivates me to keep going. And I don't have all the answers. I'll just tell you right now, I don't. But I think that if we start where we can get enough of us pulled together and we share our thoughts and our feelings and ideas, that maybe there'll be something that will help other people. Even if it doesn't help yourself, maybe it'll help somebody else. And so anyway, take care, and I will see you in the next video.